Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Beats, Brews, and Points of View podcast. I'm your host, Neil Richter. Sitting with me to my right is my partner in podcasting, E-Man Bates.
The PIP, that is me, and I look around my settings, and we are at the crib for episode 118.
Yeah. Normally I'm picking out the intro songs, so I tell you what it is, but I'll let E-Man introduce the Amine track that we just played.
Yeah, man, off of the album. Actually, I'm gonna be honest with you. I totally missed it last year, but the 2.5 project from Amine, that was a song called Mad Funny Freestyle that somehow I slept on this whole time.
I definitely listened to the album, but I didn't spend any time with it.
Dude,
I probably only listened to it once.
For some reason, I think he was in town like a couple weeks ago, and it made me
I
want
was
to
gonna
go
say I
back
saw
to
him
it.
at the Fox or on the.
Yeah, because I remember I loved Limbo and stuff like that, and like his other projects he did. I just somehow missed this one, and then I went back and listened to him. Like, oh yeah, this shit was hard.
What's that track he has? I think it may have been like 2 albums ago with Missy Elliott. That was kind of popping. The video is hilarious too. It's like
The 1.5.
I think it's on that project,
Missy Elliott.
or maybe it's the one, but maybe it's the first album. I
Is
can't
it
remember.
Is it the one where he on the toilet? That album, Good For You?
Yeah. It's on that one. Yep. There's a song with Missy Elliott.
No. Charlie Wilson.
Maybe it was
Was it on Limbo?
Hold on, let me look.
Was it
this
on
up.
Limbo?
This is gonna drive me crazy because there's a whole video for it.
It is Injured. Nope.
Amine,
Not on that album.
Amine, Missy Elliott. I'm googling it right now. Missy.
I love how he introed this album too. He goes, "Whatever the fuck."
Red
you going
Mercedes.
through." Nice.
Red Mercedes.
I
that's
love
the name of
Amine
it.
because he always have like a positive energy to him. Like he started
Yeah.
this album off. He goes
He's
like,
funny.
"I don't care whatever y'all doing right now. Go out and have fun. Shake some ass." I fucking love Amine. Dog. Shout out to him, man.
Yeah, I do too. But anyways, we are joining you live from our house here in Detroit. We've been bouncing around quite a bit lately. It's just been kind of nice. It's nice to record here. You know, you get the couch setting, get to kind of chill and be comfortable while we record.
It's the Cozy Up Part 2.
Yep, Cozy Up Part 2. And normally we're recording at nighttime, so we do, beer in here. But this week we decided, since we're recording at like 1 in the afternoon, that we'd stick to brews, but brew of the coffee variety.
A little bit of the non-alcoholic variety, kind of like that Sunday morning vibe here. So we got we switched up and went some grounds for you guys, drinking some Joe. Pause. Quick shout out, man. One of my favorite coffee spots, and I don't want to I'm not trying to blow up the spot, but at the same time, I do want to give them their flowers. Cafe 1923 in the Hamtramck is the shit, man. I really love them. And they put me on to, one of the baristas there put me on to this coffee. This Michigan cherry blend, man, is really solid. I normally drink coffee straight black, personally. I don't really like cream. I'm not a cream or sugar guy. However, when I smell it, that cherry aroma, and I really don't like cherry flavor shit like that, but that aroma, man, just like sucked me in. And I'm like, oh my God, this is probably gonna be so good. Tried a little bit, and it woke my ass right up, bro.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this. The Cherry Delight is the perfect blend of delicious flavor and light to medium roast with 100% Arabic coffee. Is that how you pronounce it? Cool. How do you drink this Michigan cherry flavor coffee? It's great, but not awesome. Makes a stellar iced coffee dessert in the middle of a hot summer.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh my God, that's
That
a
would be good with
pro
iced
tip
coffee.
right there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think I might have to put some ice in my next one. Try it out like that.
Yeah, man. I'm really feeling this, and I don't really like sweet stuff like that as far as like my beverages go. This is pretty solid.
Yeah, I really enjoy. I'm a coffee snob myself, and it is very enjoyable. It's weird. I didn't even know that you could like infuse coffee with cherries.
You can infuse anything in 2022.
Yeah,
You can infuse anything.
I would like. That's what we were kind of talking before the podcast started. It'd be kind of interesting to see the process on how they do that.
Dude, they got cannabis infused toothpicks out. You can do anything these days.
They certainly do, and they pack a punch too.
I
Those
got
things are
some on me.
Nice. Yeah, those things are really strong. But anyways, as we do on this program, especially now because we forgot last week because we got wrapped up in our interview with Imagine. Shout out, Actually,
Imagine.
no, last week was
Shout out to Jeffrey Thiel, bro.
Thiel
the
was
boy.
Last week. Yeah, but we got wrapped up in that. And
I know. I did
see
see Imagine last night, so shout out to him.
Yeah, he was down here in Detroit, right?
He lives in Detroit.
Yeah, he's right by us in Hamtramck,
Yeah.
right? And then Devin was down here too. Shout out
to Devin,
Arctic Circle Brewing,
our sponsor, our friends.
Which we thought that he lived out in Chesterfield by the brewery, and it turns out he lives down here, which is like, I'm curious why he didn't attempt to. I wonder if there's any like zoning stipulations or something. If they're like, because I wonder why he chose. Maybe we'll have to ask him.
It could be a tax thing too.
Oh, it could.
I don't know. I'm not getting into their business or anything. I just
Or
know
maybe
taxes in Detroit are fucking expensive. So. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point too. Or maybe that's probably where Eric lives. Maybe we'll have to ask him next time we see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as we forgot last week the birthdays, and so I wanted to make sure that we touched on them this week. We had quite a few legendary birthdays, so let me read those off. Normally I do the RIPs first, but we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about some of that. So in the birthdays over the last couple weeks, we had one of the most legendary producers of all time, if not the most, Quincy Jones. Mark Hoppus from Blink-182, which we're happy that he's doing well with the old cancer thing and everything, that being in remission. Jack Harlow, who is that guy is just fucking everywhere right now. His career
Jack
blew
Harlow
up so fast.
that dude. They pushed us down. They pushed Jack Harlow on us quick.
Yep.
I really like him too, though. That's the thing.
I like him too.
I have no problem with it because I actually really fuck with Jack Harlow.
Yeah, no, I do too. He definitely is getting that success out of a rep. Well, he'd been around a minute.
That's true.
But like,
I mean, he's not like an overnight thing.
No,
like that's the thing. Like, so when I say they push it on a quick, I don't mean like he's an overnight thing. It's just like it happened.
Once he popped.
Yeah. Once he was once that What's Poppin' came out.
Yeah, that's right. It was What's Poppin'.
He was fucking out of here.
Yeah, he definitely was. But anyways, and another musical icon, Sly Stone. Legendary Detroiter, who's out in California now. Well, actually, he's not from Detroit, but he spent a lot of time here and lived here for a long time. But I think he lives out in California now. And speaking of Detroit, rapper Danny Brown.
Jack!
Another legendary underground rapper, Murs. Vel the Wonder out from the West Coast. Bun B. Sean Price, rest in peace. Ebro from Ebro in the Morning. He's not a musician, but he's one of the inspirations of why I do podcasting. I'm a big fan of him and radio. Queen Latifah, Leaky Lee, Janae Aiko, Smino, Big Sean, Manny Fresh, Cash Doll, another Detroiter. Wow, a lot of Detroiters born in this podcast a month. And then finally, but certainly not the last of here, is Elton John.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know Janae Aiko and Big Sean had birthdays around each other.
Yeah, it's like a couple weeks apart. Or like I think maybe just like a week apart.
That's fitting,
awesome,
right? Actually, yeah. Appropriate.
But then unfortunately we also have to say goodbye to some people, and we lost a couple of legends. We forgot last week to talk about it too, and I know E-Man's big wrestling fan, and this was the era that I was a big wrestling fan too, and that is Scott Hall,
Razor
Razor Ramon,
dog. NWO era.
Yeah, dude. What he did was kind of enormous too in that NWO area, because remember he kind of took him and Kevin Nash left WWE and went to WCW with the NWO shit. Yeah. Brought like a whole, because no one fucked with WCW back then. It was all about WWF.
It was them and Goldberg. That was about it.
Yep. And so like they switched,
I think maybe,
and decided to go over to WCW and kind of like change the landscape for WCW, because WCW got really popping after that. Like the NWO shit, that was when I was in middle school. That was the most poppin' era. Like people were obsessed with that shit.
It was like them and like in WWE.
They had the Wolfpack.
WWE had like D-Generation X at that time. Which was like, I guess that equivalent.
Yeah, I guess that was like the.
That was the craziest crossover ever, by the way. When they were like kind of like beefing for a minute.
Oh yeah.
But
I think I'm pretty sure Kevin Nash is a Michigan dude.
Kevin, yeah,
because he used to
that sounds right.
I want to say he used to live in Canton.
Was it? I'm gonna look that up in a second. Wasn't Scott Hall the one that Diamond Dallas Page helped get clean? Diamond Dallas Page helped him get him clean, right? Because he had like a big.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think there was like a documentary. It was like not behind the mat, but it was one.
I know that's what Diamond Dallas Page does.
Or was it?
He's like big into like health and helping people like get over alcohol shit. I know he's big into I think he's big into yoga too. I think Diamond Dallas Page has like his own yoga thing.
Yeah, he does. He's really big into like that, like the yoga, and like that, like the self-help stuff. Like he's really getting people like sober and all drugs, especially like his former like wrestlers and stuff like that, like his boys.
But yeah,
Found out Scott Steiner though is from Bay City, Michigan.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, but they both wrestled for the Steiner brothers both wrestled for U of M.
Did they really?
Yeah, yep, they were real wrestlers, like actual wrestling. But Scott Hall, like I wanted to mention this too, since we talk about
Kevin
hip-hop.
Nash is from Detroit.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Yeah, he lived in Canton. I want to say when we were in high school too.
That's dope. Actually, I never knew that.
But anyways, I wanted to say about Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, that since we talk hip hop on here a lot too, he was really big and hugely influential in a lot of hip hop artists that we love's lives. And ones that I can think of off the top of my head would be Smoke DZA, Currency, and West Side Gun.
And actually Asher Roth too.
Asher Roth too. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, he has too. But I know like West Side Gun, like all the ad libs, the "Ayo," that was after Razor Ramon, like the chains and stuff. Like he said that everything that he used to do was like framed after Razor Ramon. So I wanted to definitely say R.I.P. to him. And then one we wanted to mention quickly. What was the one about the what was the guy's name that invented the GIF that you were talking about before the podcast?
We were talking about Spencer Wilthey.
Yeah, Spencer
the creator
Wilthey
of the GIF actually passed away.
That's so crazy, man. Like I didn't even like think about the fact that someone created the GIF. You know what I mean? Like they're so part of our lives now. They're everywhere. It's crazy. I bet you he was probably pretty wealthy. I bet.
Real quick, I want to keep it in the spirit of wrestling because I got two more wrestling things I want to talk about. Shad Gasper, actually, if you guys know from Crime Time, who recently passed away. He was trying to save his son and ended up drowning, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was
he got actually elected into the WWE Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. So that's dope. I want to say, rest in peace, prayers to the family, and that's awesome though. Like to have that memory behind him. That, and then one more thing in the world of wrestling. One of the greatest heels of all time retired. Triple H actually finally retired, man. That was the Attitude Era. That was my era of like wrestling for sure.
Definitely.
So he's still gonna be. I mean, I think he's still obviously part of WWE and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things where that whole we were talking about D-Generation X for a second there with like X-Pac and rest in peace China and stuff like that. Like that whole era until like now, and just see how that evolved over the years, and it's just crazy. Like I actually saw a post where he made his debut. Like he was just a straight up like blonde, like kind of like the hairband looking dude from like. I think he debuted in like 92 or something like that.
Yeah, dude, he was. He had a whole different persona back then. I forget what they used to market him as, like Mr. Was it Mr. No, not Mr. Wonderful. That's a whole different wrestler. He had a different name. I think they just called him Hunter Hearst Helmsley back then.
Yeah, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Yeah, he became Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Actually, I'm looking at it right now.
But it's kind of crazy because he survived that era and then became huge when a lot of people would be falling out of wrestling by then, and like took the D-Generation X.
It also helps that you were married to the boss's daughter.
Is he still married to her?
Yeah, Stephanie McMahon. Yeah, they're definitely still married.
I'm actually, to be honest with you, since I don't watch wrestling anymore, when I saw that they announced his retirement, no, I was just like, he's still fucking wrestling? I was kind of mind blown about that.
He was in and out for the past few years because he was doing behind the scenes shit. Mm-hmm. Like he's older, dog. So it's like. Yeah, I mean, well, then again, Ric Flair still wrestles, but like he's like one of those ones where like he was still doing a lot of behind the scenes shit, probably like a lot of like management stuff in a way, and a lot of stuff for like WWE. Because I feel like he's gonna be in position to take that over if like Vince like retires and like steps back or something like that. But or they could totally sell to team. Not what's the new league going on right now? AEW, yeah.
Or what's the other one? There's like AEW and
All Elite Wrestling. Yeah, AEW.
Is ECW still a thing?
No, ECW wasn't a thing for a while.
Dude, that was my favorite back in the day because it was like
Extreme
hardcore.
Eric Bischoff,
Extreme
Wrestling,
the Dudley Brother or the Dudley Boys or whatever. Those dudes were crazy as fuck.
Junkyard Dog. Oh, no, Junkyard Dog.
Dudley Boys eventually went to WWE, I believe, but they were crazy as fuck.
Dudley Boys they're arguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
They were nuts.
It was between them and the Hardy Boys. I would say Edge and Christian was around that time too. Greatest tag team. I mean, by the numbers, I guess they have the greatest tag team right now is the New Day.
The New Day. I don't think
that was a little bit after your time, but like they've been around for a while too. Kofi Kingston, Biggie.
Okay, they've had both. So they always have wrestlers
Xavier
on Hot
Woods.
97 because of Rosenberg. They had Kofi Kingston just recently on there. They just interviewed him.
Yeah.
So I know who that is.
But yeah, I mean, Hardy Boys are always my favorite. Of all
Hell
time.
yeah.
By the way, speaking of Hardy Boys, Jeff is finally in AEW. Because Matt was already off the AEW off the rip, and then Jeff Hardy was still in WWE, but then they switched over.
Dude, that picture you sent me of Matt Hardy, I was like, holy shit, that's what he looks like now? He looks terrible.
I don't get how Jeff Hardy looks better than Matt Hardy, and Jeff Hardy was the one doing the trucks. But that's just me. All right.
But anyways, to wrangle this thing back in, we're actually going to bring Eric on for a little bit because...
the real Big E.
He's because he's a big fan of the Foo Fighters. That's one of his favorite bands. He just went and saw them at Lollapalooza over the summertime. And unfortunately, just yesterday, well, was it yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, we found out that Taylor Hawkins, the longtime drummer of the Foo Fighters, passed away shortly before a gig. I think they were supposed to play that night, weren't they?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about it, Eric?
Yeah, they were in
Colombia?
Colombia.
Oh, shit, they're out. They're overseas. I didn't even know that. Oh, that's why everyone's over there right now. Because I kept seeing all these people posting like photos of like Argentina and like these different places they were going to in Brazil. So that's crazy. But yeah, so Taylor Hawkins, man, he wasn't originally in the band. And if a little backstory on him, this is something actually I just kind of learned because I was watching a documentary on Alanis Morissette recently, and Taylor Hawkins used to play drums for Alanis Morissette. And I think they were on tour with the Foo Fighters, and that's when him and Dave Grohl kind of befriended each other, and he eventually switched and quit playing with Alanis Morissette and started playing with Foo Fighters. I think like 97 or something like that. Sounds about right or something. But I've always been a casual Foo Fighters fan, but Taylor Hawkins has always been one of my favorite drummers because that motherfucker is a beast. Like think how good you have to be to try out and play for Dave Grohl, the drummer of Nirvana. Like,
very true.
Like, you got to be fucking with it, and like that would just be nerve-wracking as shit in general, just to start with. But yeah, they became like really close friends after that, and I know like this has got to be really hard for Dave Grohl to go through.
Well, he lost Kurt Cobain.
I know.
He lost his front man, and now he lost his drummer.
I know, that's so nuts. I saw like someone had posted like a side-by-side photo. Like there was a photo shoot that Dave Grohl and Kurt had done back in the day, and like he has the same photo with Taylor like a few like when they got together or whatever. But yeah, super sad, man, because he was like one of rock's best drummers, dude. And everyone said, like, I mean, you see all the tributes and everyone says like the same thing, like he was so nice and this and that. But you were saying something you were reading about? Do you know how it happened or anything, or do they know a definitive thing? Or you said
there
something
was
like drugs or something?
There was an article that came out today with. But, you know, media nowadays, you never know what's true.
Right.
They were saying there's 10 plus different drugs in his system.
10 plus different drugs in his system?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that, didn't he just get out of rehab recently? I thought that he had just
early
like
2000s he overdosed and then he like went into a coma or something and came back and kind of got his life back on track. But
yeah, that's what I thought I remember here. I remember hearing that he was like really bad on drugs back then and then like had gotten sober. I thought he was sober
Hawkins
since.
overdosed on heroin in August of 2001, which left him in a coma for 2 weeks. And this is actually a quote from him saying, "I was partying a lot. I wasn't a junkie per se, but I was partying. There was a year where the partying just got a little too heavy. Thank God on some level this guy gave me the wrong line with the wrong one night, and I woke up doing." Wait, what? Thank God on some level that this guy gave me the wrong line with the wrong thing one night, and I woke up going, what the fuck just happened? That was a real life-changing point for me.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think about how much money he came into, too, because he was on Alanis Morissette's tour, and she was the biggest thing in the fucking planet at that time. Like, I'm pretty sure Jagged Little Pill, I think, is like the second highest album or selling album of the 90s, like the entire decade. So he was living off that fame big time. So
that's rough, man.
That's fucking crazy.
I really want to watch that movie now. By the way, Studio 666.
Something I wanted you to pull up, E-Man, just so you can get. I want the people to hear a little piece of this. Is a song that by the Foo Fighters called Rope. Rope is a song, I think it was off like maybe their last album or 2 albums ago.
Was it?
2011, I think, is when it came out.
2011 was Wasting Light.
Yeah, that's the album that it was off of.
Oh,
but
fun.
I know that there's a really cool, like, I really like the drums on this song, and I know Taylor co-wrote this song too with Dave, and I think he does the backing vocals and stuff that I was reading.
Fun fact about that album: it was recorded entirely in analog.
Really?
Yeah, they did it in a garage.
That's the thing about that I was reading about him too. I guess Taylor Hawkins was big proponent of doing stuff analog. He hated digital recordings. He just thought that it lost like all the real feel to it and the musicianship of it. I was just reading that. I think it was on Mike Enzinger from Incubus had posted about them. He was like, "Yeah, we used to talk about how much he hated digital recording."
In college, I actually wrote a paper about like the Foo Fighters and Dave Grohl, and like a good chunk of that paper was about the album and the whole analog thing, because the whole audio engineering degree.
Yeah,
it would fit right in with that.
I do agree on some level. Like, obviously, there's cool things that you can do in digital. Like, it's not all like bad, but there is, like, when you go back and listen to some albums, that predate digital recordings, there is a different feel to it.
It's like an authenticity that's not quite like replicated with the digital.
And there's like a warmth to it, and like almost like a rawness to it, because like, I mean, before like the auto tune and stuff like that, like you couldn't even punch in, so you had to like hit it in one take, or you'd have to redo it. So like a lot of those guys, like, I know they said Bowie was kind of a master of that too, like doing shit in one take. But yeah, pull up Rope real quick so they can get a little taste of that.
Oh, I know this song. Yeah, I know this song.
Yeah. Yeah, probably cut that one off because Foo Fighters, you're kind of a big deal.
Capitol Records.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, we would let that play a little bit too long.
Right. Yeah, fucking Taylor Hawkins, though, dude. I mean, like, he's just such an impressive drummer. I was a big fan of that. I've always said I've been kind of a casual Foo Fighters fan, but man, I could listen to some of that old shit for all day. Like, what was the album that Everlong was off of? I forget the name of it.
The color and the shape.
Yeah. That's a good album.
Mm-hmm. Monkey Wrench is on that as well.
Who is?
Monkey Wrench.
Oh, Monkey Wrench is on that.
Yeah,
that's a good one. And regardless of how I feel about them, and I kind of don't listen to them as much anymore. Like, what they've managed to do as a rock band is fucking insane. Like, they're one of the highest selling rock bands of all time, without question. I mean, they sold out like Wembley Stadium 2 nights in a row, which holds like 75,000 fucking people. Like, yeah, it's insane.
And was it just last year that they got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think did they get nominated? Are they in? Yeah, I think they did.
I think they're in.
Yeah, I think you're right. They are. And I think Dave Grohl's now in for both Nirvana and Foo Fighters, which is pretty impressive.
That's insane.
Too. Yeah.
And he has a movie out.
Dude, yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. It's like
Studio 666.
Isn't it like it's like a musical, isn't it?
No, I don't know. I actually didn't see it, but I read the plot of it. So they rent pretty much an Airbnb in Pasadena and to record their like 10th album, and it turns out that like Dave Grohl kind of gets possessed or something like that, and it's just like some crazy like horror like slasher shit that goes on. I don't know. Actually no, there's a description right here. So no, I don't.
Is Taylor in it too?
Yes. Yeah, the whole band is in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Members of the rock band Foo Fighters move into Encino, California, mansion steeped in grisly rock and roll history to record their much anticipated 10th album. Once in the house, Dave Grohl finds himself grappling with supernatural forces that threaten both the completion of the album and the lives of the band members.
Huh.
So Dave Grohl is the villain in this.
Where can we watch that? I kind of want to see that. It might be in theaters right now.
It was in theaters. I don't know if it's still.
Isn't Whitney Cummings in it?
Yes. Yeah, she's like the neighbor or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out like end of February.
Oh, dude, I feel so bad for Dave Grohl right now because I know aside from them being bandmates, they were like really, really close friends. You know, like they hung out a lot with each other.
And then to lose Kurt and Taylor now,
crazy.
And
you know, 50 years old, like. You know, like Foo Fighters and bands like of our generation that we grew up with, Chili Peppers and all these guys, they're getting a little bit older, but 50 still to me seems so fucking young. Like
50 is definitely. I mean, in rock and roll, is it young? Probably not.
Yeah,
or in the music industry, no.
Yeah, right.
But it is young in a general spectrum of life when people are living to be like 100 and shit these days. So
yeah. And like, who would you like? They're on tour right now, so like, what are they? You think they just suspend the tour indefinitely right now?
Shit. I mean, what happened when Chester passed? When they were like Linkin Park was in the middle of a tour.
No, wasn't he touring with Stone Temple Pilots at the time? I thought he was filling in with Stone Temple Pilots.
I thought that he was. Linkin Park was about to go on tour. That's what it was. He was either about to go on tour or they were like just started their tour, and when that happened,
yeah.
So I remember hearing him.
That one you definitely can't continue because Chester. I mean, well, you can't replace the singer, like, but like, I don't know.
Do you think they're ever gonna do anything
Linkin
again?
Park?
No, Foo Fighters. Or do you think they're just gonna kind of call it?
I can't see Dave Grohl calling. I don't feel like he has it in his spirit to call it.
I don't think he.
Man, I don't know.
But can you replace Taylor? I mean, maybe replace isn't the right word.
I mean, it's like kind of like when Metallica, when their bassist died originally.
Maybe he starts a new project, you know? Maybe he starts, or he'll lean into like them Crooked Vultures, or that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm sure they have a lot. They've got a ton of dates booked right now. Like,
how long was it into when? I was just going like Metallica when their bassist died originally, and they picked up what's my man's name?
Jason Newsted.
Yeah. Torillo. I forgot to do his name. But I know his last name.
Well, their bass player didn't die. They just switched bands. Jason Newsted went to Ozzy Osbourne. It's kind of funny. I don't know why they swapped. They because Robert Trujillo or whatever the fuck his name is, he was playing bass for Ozzy Osbourne, and he came to Metallica, and Metallica's went to Ozzy Osbourne.
I remember there was a documentary on that, like where he auditioned and just like shredded it or something like that. It was like a clip or something. But yeah, as for like Foo Fighters situation, I have no idea, dog.
Yeah, but anyways, rest in peace to Taylor Hawkins, man. Really, really sad. I'm sure we'll find out more information on how it all happened. It seems like it was a pretty big cocktail of drugs, which is unfortunate. But
they were overseas too,
sad,
right?
man. What'd you say?
And they were overseas too, right?
Yeah, they were in South America.
Yep. That sucks. But anyways, we're gonna move this podcast along. We got some music to get to, but before we get to the music, did you want to talk a little bit about?
There's a very hilarious headline I read today, and I'm gonna be honest with you. So I wake up in the morning, you know, just what up, kind of get my surroundings together, kind of gauge my interest, what's going on, kind of plan my day out in my head. I guess like a rough draft, if you will. I'm like, all right, I check my phone. I'm like, all right, I guess it's time to hop on socials for a minute, see what's popping, check my notifications. First thing I see when I fucking go to my eyes, and this just made me laugh, like it made me cackle for 3 minutes. Joyner Lucas apologizes to MGK after saying he was hacked by Russia.
Yeah, fucking Joyner Lucas went on a meltdown, dude. He carries himself like such a turd. I swear, man. Like, I really like Joyner as an artist, but like, he always goes on these public meltdowns, and it literally was all because MGK was billed as one of Lollapalooza's headliners. And Joyner Lucas was like way the fuck down in like the super small fine print. And he's like, I'm way bigger than this guy and this and that. He's like, well, Palooza's got stuff fucking with me and this and that. Bro, you haven't put out an album in like 3 or 4 years.
No,
like,
he hasn't. He put out one like last year, I thought.
No. Hell no.
Joyner?
No way.
Well, I'm going to bring up Eminem.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Do it.
So, yeah, he was on that, was it What was the name of that Eminem album?
Oh,
Kamikaze,
yeah, he was on
or-
the Kamikaze. Yeah, it was Kamikaze.
Honestly-
Joyner
honestly-
put out 2020. That was his last Evolution
I wasn't that impressed.
with the Lucky You soundtrack.
Yeah, like I
like it.
enjoyed Eminem's part of it, but Joyner just like he was there. He didn't really fill anything.
He definitely he's definitely super talented at like, I mean, he can rap